It is March 4th. It is day 43 of the Trump presidency. And while I will not be staying up to report on this, Trump is going to be holding a joint session of Congress tonight to address the nation. Um, it sounds like there's protests being planned around this. The Democrats are planning some protests. Supposedly, maybe there's some protests happening across the nation already. Trump is on Truth Social threatening all those people with arrest and deportation and all kinds of craziness. So I would expect that tonight is going to be a little bit of a wild one. Maybe buckle up. I know I see a lot of people kind of speculating on some things he may say. I don't know. He likes to keep people on his toes. He really doesn't seem to be able to balance either, and we are all a little wobbly as well. So, yes, everyone's on their toes at this point. So, we have a lot to cover, but Trudeau has come out today and said that he believes that Trump is purposely trying to collapse Canada's economy so that he can annex Canada and make it the 51st state. Aside from the fact that Trump has constantly said that since all of this started, I don't think that that is at all a conspiracy theory. I think very clearly, like, financial violence is still violence, right? Financial violence can put people, obviously, it's already happening here in the United States, out of their jobs. It can put families at risk. It can, make it so that people don't have access to health care or insurance, or, it's going to destabilize our entire country, and yes, it will probably really heavily handicap Canada's economy as well. And people are saying that Trudeau has the ability to say these things because he's only got like a week left in office. Well, regardless, I appreciate his candor. I think he said it, he still said it carefully, and I think that he is not wrong, realistically. I think that the intentions of this administration are certainly not to strengthen our economy or our economic ties. And it does seem like their plan is to try to do some sort of a land grab with Canada, with Greenland, with Palestine, anywhere that they see resources that they want, they're just going to fucking take it by any means necessary, it seems. The trade war is already heating up. So China has already halted lumber imports to the United States, suspended our soybean import license. They have imposed import levies on over $21 billion worth of agriculture, which includes wheat, meat, chicken, beef, cotton, a lot of stuff. It's going to affect us intensely. You're going to see prices at stores change. Here's another thing, and just a little reminder of what happened during the pandemic and something that we're still fighting against because no one's going to stop it now. A lot of this shit turns into price gouging, right? It's an excuse for all these stores to like double their prices, and they feel that no one's going to stop them, and they're not wrong. It was literally proven that a lot of these places were price gouging on various items throughout the course of the pandemic. They were trying to take advantage of it. And they did, and no one stopped them because price gouging is notoriously difficult to prosecute. It's difficult to prove in court. And right now, we do not have a president who gives a fuck. These are his buddies that he says, go ahead, do whatever you want. Clearly, they're not worried. I mean, the only piece of him that may care is if on a long enough timeline, all of his supporters get super angry about these price increases and they start to point the finger at him. But to be honest with you, I think that their plan is that by then it won't matter. They're trying to install him as a king, as a dictator. They're talking about a third term, yada, yada. Do I think he's going to survive until a third term? No, I do not. But they'll just try to shove somebody else in there. Maybe they'll try to squeeze Elon. I mean, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Whatever it is, it's probably not going to be good. I guess there was an emergency summit in Cairo, Egypt, about what is going on in Palestine. This makes me really happy, but I do think that there is going to be a conflict between the United States and Israel on one side, and then potentially, I don't know, the rest of the world on the other side. but for sure, like, you know, Egypt, Jordan, etc., they had this emergency summit to discuss a $53 billion plan to rebuild Palestine to try to help them implement a two-state solution. They want to install like a temporary government. I guess they skirted around the issue of Hamas, but Hamas really wasn't mentioned. It sounds like they plan to have the government not be Hamas, however, and be instead like a group of technocrats that's just going to temporarily help Palestine float through until they can have like a fair election. I think that sounds like a great plan. Obviously, we know that's not what Israel wants. They're not on board with that. We know that's not what the United States wants. Now what? You know what I'm saying? So here we are again, a bunch more conflict. It is what it is. Obviously, Egypt and Jordan and all of those countries are, you know, they're much closer geographically than the United States is, but obviously, you know, Trump has already set his mind on the idea that we are going to just take what we want from that region, which is a nightmare for literally everyone involved. I hope you guys love drinking shit water because the United States Supreme Court just voted 5-4 to weaken the 1972 Clean Water Act to allow for more discharging of sewage into our water supplies. I'm sorry. I wish I was joking, but I'm just not. Again, all of this is always just about money, right? Like, none of these people give a fuck about human beings. They don't care what happens to us, obviously. Like, they don't care what's in our food supply. They don't care what's in our water. They don't care what's happening to the environment. They just care about money. It's that. That's it. That's the bottom line for them, is their profits and their buddies being able to, like, dump sewage more cheaply. In any case, that is a really disturbing headline, and I'm sorry I had to tell you about it, but it's, you know, this is like the direction that we're headed in. And this next headline is very similar. Trump has now ordered 280 acres of trees on public lands to be cut down for timber. Understand that, like I said yesterday, I didn't realize how much of our timber, or how much of our, timber was coming from China. But I guess there's a portion coming from China, which makes almost no sense. Also, why are we shipping meat from China at all, ever? Like, why are we not just eating our own fucking meat? I don't know. Some of this stuff is kind of weird, but regardless, I know that we've gotten a lot of our wood previously from Canada and our building supplies in general. So I understand that Trump is likely trying to get ahead of that. They are loosening, this is really sad. They're loosening basically the restrictions surrounding endangered species in order to go in and cut down all these trees. So it's not just that they're cutting down trees that can take hundreds of years to grow to full size. They're also literally potentially putting more animals onto the extinct list. It's not, there's something about that I think fucks me up more than like any of the other shit, because honestly, like, again, human beings are really making me sick lately. Physically sick. But when we start doing significant lasting damage to our planet because of our true like psychosis over money, that's like where I draw the line, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes me want crazy things to happen, I'll be honest. But it's gonna start soon. They're gonna start cutting this land, cutting these trees down. I know that there's gonna be some Republicans too that are gonna care about this. Like, hunters are big conservationists. They typically care a lot about public lands. They typically care a lot about, not necessarily animals in the way that a Democrat necessarily would, but yes and no, you know what I mean? I don't think all Republicans are sociopaths. I think that they tend to have less empathy for other humans than they should. But I think that some Republicans are probably going to get pissed about some of this stuff. I hope so. I fucking hope so. I want to see more solidarity over the fact that a lot of the things that are happening right now are not things that either side wants. It's not even going to benefit. Like, these tariffs are not beneficial. Our stock market today is still in the trash can. Although I did hear that Trump has been on phone calls all day with Canada and Mexico, and that they're trying to come up with some sort of compromise. He's making it clear that the tariffs are not going to be like rescinded, but maybe there'll be additional terms added or something. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. I guess we'll find out. Google's co-founder came out and publicly said he thinks everyone should be working 60 hours a week. Again, I just want to like remind everyone that they think of us as their slaves, and they don't care if we are happy or healthy or if we're well. Like, they just want to squeeze your life force and all of the money that they can out of you. And if you die, you know, if you get cancer from the stress and you're in the hospital, then they can squeeze even more out of you. It's a heinous, disgusting system that we live in right now, and I'm not terribly sad about the idea of it collapsing, but I am concerned about what will replace it, especially when we have two factions that are sort of fighting for control right now that are both equally horrifying. And by the two factions, I mean the Curtis Yarvin, crazy techno billionaire guys who want to put us in the brain vat hooked up to the VR system, and then the crazy evangelical Christian who are like essentially almost all of them are closeted gay people, which is so bizarre. And it just keeps coming out like more and more of them. Which, by the way, did I tell you guys, and this has been like around for a while, but J.D. Vance at one point, I guess, said that Christ saved him from being gay because he believed he was gay at one point. So yeah, it's so bizarre every single time. I mean, that's why they're out there crashing Grindr. Anyways, long story short, they want to remove women's rights completely and have us just be on a farm popping out their kids so that more people can make money for them. It's all so disgusting. I can hardly talk about it. A little tiny bright spot is that Tesla sales have now declined by 45%. Yeah, I mean, we hate his guts. Worldwide, he is hated. And he is making it so much worse for himself. Like, imagine the life he could have had. He could have had a really good life, and he is destroying himself. I also saw yet another report about his drug use, saying that the people around him are really, really concerned that he's going to die because his drug use has increased exponentially. And there is, I guess, you know, I don't know a whole lot about ketamine, but it sounds like you do develop a tolerance steadily over time, and it can sort of like dismantle your body's ability to function, which makes sense. Like, you can absolutely overdose on ketamine. And if he's sort of on it around the clock right now, which it sounds like maybe he is, then I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's very scary to have somebody with this much power completely out of their mind at the same time. Target is saying that there's going to be really significant price hikes on all their products because of the tariffs. Target is already in a really bad way because of their DEI statements. Their stocks have tanked. Their stores are not doing well. Sorry, you know. And yeah, these tariffs, these tariffs are going to destroy our not just our economy, but like specifically the retail sector. I mean, people are not going to want to spend money. They're just not. And it's smart of them to not spend money. This is not the time. If you can limp by with your same old car, with your same old computer, with your same old phone, you absolutely should, because you're going to be paying 25 to 50% more, or even high. Again, like, nothing is stopping these places from completely price gouging. So know that anytime you need to repair your car, even just getting parts to repair a car, it's going to be significantly more expensive. Know that anytime you need to repair something in your house, it's going to be more expensive. So we have to all be trying to set aside more fucking money for all this crap. And yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. I'm not spending any money unless I have literally no choice. And I know a lot of other people are going to be doing the same. The IRS is now saying that they plan to cut literally half of their workforce. I believe it's currently 90,000 people. And that's a lot of people back out on the job market. I mean, that's another thing that we're underestimating is what are all this massive number of layoffs going to do to the job market? I mean, it's going to flood, obviously, but like, yeah, it's a nightmare. This is a little bit of a complicated story, but I'm going to do my best to explain. So BlackRock just basically struck a deal to bring the ports on both sides of the Panama Canal under American control. So Trump has been basically claiming or accusing the Panama Canal of allowing China to control a bunch of the ports and saying that China is like interfering with our stuff, getting where it's going, and it's really weird. But anyways, I guess in the long run, that ended up getting Trump what he wanted, and now BlackRock has purchased those ports for American control. I don't know. I mean, other than obviously Trump wants everything under American control. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the United States. And I don't know that it's even entirely a bad thing. I guess we purchased the ports from Hong Kong. Again, 70% of what goes through the Panama Canal is being shipped here. So I think it kind of makes sense for us to control a little bit more of the ports. I don't know. I don't understand the nuance behind all of that, which is why I said it's like a little bit more of a complicated story for me to report on, because I think it's probably a lot deeper than my understanding can really go reading an article for 5 minutes. But I do understand that Jimmy Carter is the one that kind of like sold the Panama Canal, or, you know, didn't try to take control of the Panama Canal in the first place. Anyways, the history of all of that is also really complicated, and I'd have to do a lot more reading on it. But just know that that happened today, and maybe that does benefit the United States in some way. Car manufacturers and distributors are freaking out, man. They're, you know, I watched a guy, I don't know, he was like just a car dealership, talking about how the cars on his lot are going to go up an average of 25%. And sometimes that's like $20,000 for those like giant ass stupid trucks that I hate that everyone drives. Those trucks, a lot of them are already like $80K. So now they're going to be like $100,000. Again, are people going to buy those right now, or are they going to hold off? And so the guy is on there talking about how now his lot is going to be full of stuff that no one's buying. And, you know, they're screwed. They're totally screwed. That industry is already not doing well. They have too much inventory. It's already not moving very well. Prices have already been up. Now they're going to go up exponentially more. And again, people don't have that much money. There was that whole like huge shortage of used vehicles during the pandemic. Everything is way up. Like, I know I had to buy a car during the pandemic. I had to finance a car because my car completely, I had driven it to the point where like it would have cost a lot more money to fix it than it would to just get rid of it and get a new car. But trying to get a lease, even then, it was just as much to lease it as to finance. It's just all so freaking complicated. And, you know, what I financed my car for, it's probably not even worth that. You know, it's just all this, the bubbles when it comes to overpriced homes, overpriced vehicles, overpriced, et cetera, it's creating a situation where A, people aren't buying anything. B, when we do buy it, it's not really worth what we're buying it for. And so then C, all of these like pricing bubbles can burst and collapse. And that's what happened with like the 2008 housing crisis and recession. So yeah, we're looking at something similar again, I believe. And everyone's saying that you know, that it's kind of going to happen with the housing in Florida first, that there's this like exponential amount of housing inventory sitting in Florida right now that's not moving, and they're dropping prices on the homes, they're dropping prices on the rent, and it's, I think I told you guys this last week, there's more than 2 million empty homes sitting in Florida right now. And people can't get insurance for the houses either. So yeah, we have a lot of problems as a country right now. They're about to get a lot worse. This really bothers me. So I know you know that Trump is going after, or Doge is going after, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They want to shut it down. Well, since then, they have dropped over 89 cases against various kinds of companies that have been essentially accused of defrauding citizens of the United States. So crypto companies, Zelle had a lawsuit against them. I don't even know for what. Some loan company that was basically tricking people into loans with like crazily high interest rates and other payments. And so all of these companies are now just off the hook. And whoever is in charge of this now, I can't remember his name. Anyways, he came out and he literally said, I'm sorry, this fucking makes me so mad. He came out and he said that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was being weaponized against corporate America. Again, like, these are their friends. They want fraud. They want scams. They're about to run a bunch of their own scams. They're about to create the crypto reserve. They're doing all this like weird, shady shit. And they want to do that. They want it to be a free-for-all. They don't want potential consequences. And they're going to stick up for their fellow robbers. And that's what's up. Like, that's the new law of the land, is that money matters more than people. They don't care if you are dumb and you get taken for all you're worth, or if the bank just decides to not have your money in there anymore. I don't know. So, too bad. It's crazy. It's a crazy time to be in America. It's probably a crazy time to be in the world in general. I will leave you with this, and I don't know why I feel like telling you this. It's a little bit hopeful, and it's also horrifying, okay? So you can make of it what you will. But people were in the comments of a video on TikTok last night that was showing some footage of some of the destruction in Ukraine, okay? So it's like buildings that are all bombed and destroyed, and there's people in the comments claiming to be living in Ukraine right now. One of them was talking about how life just goes on. They were like, yeah, we're trying to remodel our house right now. Like, I'm still going to work every day. We're all paying our bills. Like, we're just living, and this is happening in the background. So we're just still going to work, getting our groceries, and just trying not to get bombed. And we just know that, like, every day there's, like, a higher risk of dying because we're in a war. But everyone is still just living their lives. That is such a crazy concept, but I want us to spend some time actually thinking about that. I think that America is complacent. I think that America is spoiled. I think that we are used to feeling safe. And maybe that was a mistake, and maybe that is partially what's responsible for the fact that most people don't even show up to vote. We don't even do the bare fucking minimum that needs to be done to hang on to everything that we've literally been given by our ancestors who fought for this country, who fought for civil rights, who fought for women's rights, who fought for women's rights to vote, who fought to make spousal rape illegal, who fought for me to be able to even have a bank account so I don't have to live with some abusive, fucked up dude. I can have my own motherfucking house. And I don't have to ask anybody if I can do that. And I think we let a lot of this shit slip away just now. Can we get it back? I have no idea. But whether or not we can get it back, I think that we are capable of withstanding way more than we think we are. And I'm going to point back to the pandemic again as an example of that. I think if, someone would have explained that situation to us before it happened, it would have sounded extremely horrifying. And it was a really hard time. It was hard on people emotionally, it was hard on people physically, everyone was very scared. But we made it through that. We can do hard things. We can. And whatever is coming down the pipe for us now, I am confident that most of us will survive, and possibly we will be better for it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know, I believe that we will not take for granted so much. And maybe we'll forget in a generation again, which is frequently what happens, right? Like the silent generation knew. They had to fight for what they had. They had to go through the Depression and World War II and so many other things, and maybe like the boomers were too spoiled and then they raised us, whatever. Anyways, maybe this is the reminder that we need, that all of this can be taken away anytime. And it's not a guarantee. So anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.